Yo, what's poppin' guys, Sizzyl here, and in this video I'm going to be quickly showing off my front end of choice for the AYN Thor, probably forever. I don't really have a reason to swap out for this one, and that is CocoonFE, or Cocoon front end. It just looks like the 3DS pretty much. It looks absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning, super functional. You know, you got nice folders with all your icons and your games and nice art, and you just click them to launch and it works. It's also going to go over a few tips that I didn't include in my initial AYN Thor setup guide that I've learned since making that guide. So for anyone who watched that, that's probably a little bit useful. And we're also going to be assuming here that you've already set up all your emulators and have all your ROMs set up in a folder somewhere. And yeah, without further ado, first things first, there's JamesDSP. If you watch the setup guide, you'll know it's a common way to get really good audio in the AYN Thor over the default, and it's useful when you have speakers, but if you ever have headphones on or are recording the Thor like I am here, you actually want to turn it off because the audio quality will be worse when you're not just using speakers on the device. Another useful thing is the Aurora Store, which is basically like the Play Store, except it's like all anonymous. You don't have to sign in with Google or anything like that. You can see we have an anonymous account here. And you can still just install apps and stuff like normal. That's my default way to go install stuff. And the final thing is Wallpaper Engine is pretty neat as well. It's a free app available on the Play Store or Aurora Store. You can just set your background to nice animated stuff and like real-time stuff here, like this DS clock that actually moves properly with the time of day that it is. My personal favorite isn't actually this DS clock one, it's the Mario Kart DS kind of end credit background, which just looks super clean in my opinion. Unfortunately, it's not supported in Cocoon yet, but they are adding support for this in the future, I believe. It's on like the list of stuff to do. Either way, let's get off to the Cocoon setup. You just want to go copy the link to the GitHub repo, or if you don't have Obtanium, you just download the APK from there. But with Obtanium, we go into Obtanium, go paste in the repo right here. You can also see if you hit this little pin icon, the bottom screen, you can actually hit pin to bottom screen. And that's how you get the keyboard to always be on the bottom screen, which I find super useful because that's where my fingers are when I'm gaming and stuff. Also, make sure you go and hit the include pre-releases button, and you'll see that it'll just add it once we hit the add button here. And then once it's there, we just go back to the main tab and go install Cocoon like you would any other app. It'll actually bring you to it right away, but if you didn't do it right away, it'll just be down here at the bottom. CocoonFE should have this sort of icon by insect. Then hit install, and once it's installed, we can just launch it like any other app, and make sure we just hit set as default launcher. That'll set it as our default launcher, and then we're going to go hit continue. And from here, it's going to be asking for a SteamGridDB and a Screenscraper login and API key, because this is how it's going to get the different artwork for all of your games, all your ROMs and stuff that you have on your device. Now, I'll have these both linked in the description. They're both absolutely free to use and stuff. That's why we're going to be using them here. But for Screenscraper, you just need to go hit this register button after setting a username and email, and it'll have you do that all right down here. I've already done that, so I'm not going to show it off here, but it's like a normal registration thing like on any website. And if you appreciate what they do, you really should, help them with their development costs. Almost every front end relies on Screenscraper in some way. So everyone donating to it makes it available to those who don't have the money to donate to get all this stuff out for everyone. Meanwhile, on SteamGridDB, you just want to go hit the login button in the top. This will require an actual Steam account, but any Steam account can use this for free. It's absolutely free. You're going to hit sign in, go actually sign in with your Steam account. And you can see once you're signed in, you'll be signed in the corner here. You just want to go to preferences and then hit this API button, and then create API key. And now you'll have an API key. You don't want to actually share this with anyone or anything. I'm going to hit revoke API key in a second to get rid of it. But you want to just go copy this whole thing into the text box where it asks for your API key. And it's that simple, and then you're set to go. And I didn't show this, but you just want to hit next. It'll then bring you to the platform database page. You just want to hit download now, and it'll go download all the different kind of emulators and stuff that you're able to use for this. And this normally does take a little bit, it's like 30 seconds to a minute. And I just skipped ahead. You can see, right, platform's downloaded. You can hit continue. You can set it to simple mode, where it just shows all your games like normal, or smart folders, which is what I use, where it kind of splits them per platform. Then you want to go select your ROMs folder, right? So we're just going to select your ROMs folder and then hit allow. And then we just want to go hit next yet again. Alright, just scrolling down. hit continue, and now we'll have to select the different stuff to play our games, right? So the emulators that should be launched whenever we click any game. And if you follow the guide for the initial setup, I have RetroArch 64 Gambit, RetroArch 64 MGBA, and Gambit Gen. Make sure it's the 64 version, not the 32 version. Then for GameCube, it's Dolphin Emu, like Oregon Dolphin Emu. Make sure you pick that version. N64 is just Parallel N64, 64 version. Melon DS, even though we have the dual screen fork, it's just the normal one. Don't change that. Then RetroArch 64 Meson, and then leaving all the PlayStation stuff as default. SNES is BSNES, the 64 version. I don't know why I showed SNES 9X here. I think I fixed that. Yeah, fixed that right away. And then the Switch, we're going to switch that to Eden because that's what we use. If you use any of the other stuff, just pick your actual stuff that you use. But for anyone that follows the guide, this is all you want to set up. And then you want to hit start using Cocoon. And you'll see it already starts scraping on the bottom screen. And you can also just at any point either tap the kind of thing there that shows the X icon, or I just pressed X, and now my bottom screen has the folders, and my top screen has the nice little display. And that's just generally the look I like going for. It looks a lot more like the 3DS, where all your apps are in different folders. From here, though, we're going to go into Cocoon settings and change a few settings and add some missing platforms that didn't scan properly because I have weirdly named folders. So we're going to go to App Grid screen, and I like setting that to secondary so that the apps automatically launch the bottom screen. From here, you can change some other stuff, or you go to the home menu and change stuff here. I don't really change anything here yet. Then in appearance, you have quite a number of things, like showing the battery percentage is a super useful one to toggle on that I just like having on, because I like knowing how much battery I have left. You can change the wallpaper, you can change the icon for the app and everything like that. Super useful, super customizable, you can basically change everything. But we're going to go actually fix two of the systems that didn't initially show up here, which is first off, we scroll down, the Nintendo 3DS, you'll notice it actually doesn't have the ROMs folder, and that's because ESDE calls the 3DS folder N3DS, whereas I think this is just literally looking for 3DS as the folder. So if it doesn't have the default folder it's expecting, which maybe I'll have a guide on that or whatever link in the description, then it won't show up right away, but now 3DS will show up. And for PlayStation, I don't have single ROM files. I have like a split set of files, each in their own folder for each game, so I have to turn on scan subfolders so that it actually finds those games. And now you can see we have two more folders, including now our PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 3DS games. So like everything is there. That's how you would kind of fix any problem with games not showing up. And you can see we already have art for some of the stuff while I was just sitting here talking, right? It scanned like a small percentage of stuff, and our Game Boy games have this nice, lovely art that was automatically scraped to go with our ROMs. And if you just click, you can already launch the games, they already work. And we can just play the game, so you can see the bottom screen, since it's not a dual screen emulator, still actually has things accessible like normal. So if we wanted to, while we have Donkey Kong Land playing up here and we want to go swap games, it's as simple as just going to whatever other folder you want to go to and swapping to games, right? So I'm actually going to make my way to the Game Boy folder, which is kind of hard because right now we haven't customized the folders so they'll look the same, but going to GameCube, we can go just launch. This is Bomberman. I know there's no icon for it yet, but it's still in the process of scraping that stuff. It takes a little bit to actually get all the different pictures for all your different games, but yeah. Here's Bomberman up and running, and then you can close the games either by swiping up like this or by pressing the home button, which I'll show off later. And you can see it just brings us straight back to the Cocoon menu. And now I'm going to show you how to actually edit how these folders look. It's very simple. You just go to the folder and either press Y or click that button in the bottom corner where it says Y. Here you can change the icon, the color, and the name, right? So I can change it to yellow. I can go here and then change the icon and just pick from a large list of icons. They're actually going to add in a few more that you can see on screen right now. They're not currently in this because this is a beta version that I'm showing off in the video. The proper release of this, the version 1, is going to be coming up very soon and have all those nice icons that are more representative of retro consoles. But for now, I'll just set it to like this bus, except you'll notice I didn't press Y at the top or hit that little button that says Y at the top, so it didn't actually save. Every time you change this stuff currently, you have to make sure you hit that save button, and then it'll say folder settings saved. And now you can see we have our nice yellow folder. So if we were in a game like last time before, now we know our Game Boy folder is the yellow train, right? You can change stuff however you want to change it. One of the nice default ones, though, is the Android icon for Android apps, which is something I just set right away. I do have these all customized properly on my handheld now, but I didn't really have them customized fully in the showcase, but that's how you would change it. Speaking of customization, you might also want to drag some of these apps out of the folders to have quicker access to them, and it's very simple to do that. You literally just hold your finger on it and then drag it out of the folder, and it'll copy it, so it still stays in the smart folder, and it's also accessible on your main menu, and you can go launch whatever app from here, or drag it around however you want to drag it around. Another useful thing is these quick shortcuts at the bottom. You get 6 quick shortcuts where you can just scroll down, select an app to launch, and then you can just tap that and it will launch the app directly through there. And you can see that's like a pretty normal setup right there with Aurora Store, the default settings, Obtanium, whatever apps you might want to have down there, you now have quick access to. And then another app I want to drag out is Fortnite, which is just the native Fortnite version on Android. And I want to actually put these in their own folder. They're not like emulated stuff, but they're stuff I want to have access to in their own folder. It's not just like an Android app. So I'm going to go hit create folder on the side here. You can't just drag them on top of each other like you think you could. That might change in the future, but for now you have to go hit create folder and then go type in whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it gaming for now. I'm not really sure what else I would call this. And I'm going to go actually customize our folder so it stands out, right? We're just going to make it green and give it a nice little disk icon or whatever. It doesn't really matter what icons you set, it's all personal preference, but yeah, I'm just going to go drag in the 2 apps. You can see just like that, we have our new folder with our apps in it right here, and if I want to go launch them, I just tap them like normal. You can either just press A when it's highlighted, or if you physically tap it on your screen, it'll launch that way as well. This thing is custom built for the AYN Thor and devices like it, so it works absolutely beautifully, and you can see Fortnite launched perfectly fine right there. And here's a quick showcase of the dual screen emulator working. We're just loading up Advance Wars Days of Ruin. You can see it's loading up just fine, right? Things are working perfectly, it's exactly as you expect it to. And now if I can either just swipe up like I wanted to before to go close the game, right? So if I just swipe up like that, you can use that to technically close it, or the better way, just press the home button twice. And boom, we're right back in the menu, right back where we want to do things. It's just super easy, simple navigation. Another pretty vital feature is editing game data, so editing like pictures, metadata, whatever. You just want to press Y and then edit game config. And then from here, we'll have the option to change all the different images that we use, where we could change the icon. You can see the icons that automatically scanned from SteamGridDB are here. So if I want to change to this background, that's another background that just automatically downloaded. We have a bunch of different icons that automatically downloaded. It downloads whatever's just kind of available. But you notice it didn't save. It still looks the same, and that's because I didn't actually save it. So make sure every time you make these changes, you do actually save it, either by pressing Y or by pressing the button that says Y in the corner. So I changed it again, I press Y, and there you go. Another useful thing with that edit feature is you can make it so specific games launch with specific emulators. So for example, on the Switch emulators, one emulator might work better than the other. And with this, in this menu where it says emulator app down there, you can just change that so that the best emulator launches for every game automatically. You can also make it launch on the bottom screen if you need that aspect ratio, whatever. It just has anything you would really possibly ever want. And then hide game was also in that menu if you just don't want an app to show up or whatever. And overall, that's pretty much all you really need to know to use this. There's a lot more features that currently exist, a lot more features on the way. This is still in very open beta. I've been in the Discord server, which I'll have linked in the description, just kind of helping him test stuff out, and the progress this app's been making is absolutely insane. This was completely unusable like a week or 2 ago, and now it's a completely beautiful, smooth, functional front end, and it's going to be my front end of choice, and he's still adding more and more updates as time goes on. I think he's adding like custom menu music for your home screen. Like I said, Wallpaper Engine support is in the books as well, and it's just a really, really good front end. I'll have that Discord linked in the description. If you have any problems with the setup, I would go there. You could also leave a comment here and someone could maybe help you out, but you're more likely to get actual help setting this up in the Discord dedicated to this front end. And yeah, with that being said, I'm super excited that my Thor is pretty much complete now. This was the last thing I was kind of holding out on. The Thor didn't really have any good dual screen front ends that were usable with it. And with Cocoon, that final problem I was having with the device is solved. With all that being said, hope that you guys found this useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.